All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Zach and Bo show. We're, back again trying to put together a nice little episode before we are heading into week 7 of the NFL year. Week 6, I think, had a lot of surprises. We're going to kind of dive into that, kind of let you know how we did on our predictions, kind of cover, our week 7 expectations, and then kind of discuss the updated power rankings. I think this week kind of shook some things up. So
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
excited to kind of dive into that, and I'll
Mhm.
let Zach kind of kick us off with that.
So yeah, believe it or not, we both went 9-5 on our predictions this week, leaving us both at 62 and 32. So maybe next week we'll break that tie, but we've been tied for the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this was a really good week of football. There was some crazy, crazy surprises, starting with last week's Thursday night game, Tampa at Philly. I mean, Tampa just they won obviously, but they just haven't been looking like themselves defensively. So that's why I don't have them in my my top 5 NFL teams. They very well still could be there in the Super Bowl hunt at the end of the year, but I don't know. I just wasn't impressed with them on Thursday night.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I definitely feel that. They got the win, which that's what matters. But like you said, their defense just doesn't have the same character that they did last year. A lot of that probably is attributed to just how many injuries they
Oh,
have.
yeah. Mhm.
Missing a handful of really big starters. So I think I think once they get healthy, they're still gonna be a formidable team.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree.
And some surprises this week. Jacksonville getting their first win. I predicted them to win, kind of on a long shot. I was pretty 50-50, but the fact that they won and the way they did, that was kind of crazy. And Trevor Lawrence has been looking better. He's definitely improved these last couple of weeks. So that's good to see. Finally, a rookie quarterback this year that's actually showing a lot of promise. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
no, I agree. I think Lawrence is a good quarterback. I think he's obviously not in the best situation, not only for the roster around him, but with the
Mhm.
coach. That's just a huge distraction right now for him. But
Yeah.
I actually predicted Miami to win. And then late in the week they announced so many injuries, and I
Yeah.
immediately regretted the pick. And Jacksonville managed to get a win out of it. So hopefully we see Trevor Lawrence just continue kind of building some success.
And then them getting the W. I was surprised, not really surprised, but Cincinnati, all their games have been crazy close. And I know it's Detroit, but Detroit's been hanging in
Yeah.
there with like a couple good teams. And Cincinnati just showed that they are a legit team even more. I mean, I know it's the Lions, but 34-11. And I don't even think it was that close. That the score makes it even though getting closer than it actually was. That was crazy. And then Baltimore just destroying the Chargers. That just didn't make any sense to me. I just didn't see that one coming from a team that barely beat the Lions to destroying a team that I thought was one of the 5 best teams in the NFL. Maybe they still are, but after that showing, it just I was insane.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think we both picked Baltimore for the upset.
Yeah.
But you know, in that fashion, that is not what I predicted at all.
Mhm.
That was, I mean, it just from the get-go, it didn't look very close. Like it just looked like Baltimore. I mean, every Sunday is just going to be so different. And I think the Chargers are still going to have success. But yeah, that was very surprising that Baltimore came out and just absolutely handled business like that.
Yeah. I want to say that the Arizona Cleveland was surprising, but Cleveland had so many injuries. That was just a rough week for him. I mean, yes, Arizona still went out and beat another NFL team 37-14. They're still an amazing team this year. I'm not taking anything away from them, but and Cleveland just got ravaged with injuries, and there were a couple questionable calls there today. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's sad to see because I mean I like Cleveland. I want the best for them. They're always a cool story to see them finally succeeding after all these years, but that was just a rough game.
Yeah. I think if they get healthy, I think Cleveland's going to be a team to watch late in the season.
Mhm.
But man, yeah, they are both sides of the ball just have so many injuries, and it's tough. Everyone always says, you got to be ready, next man up. It's the NFL. But when you go from Nick Chubb to Kareem Hunt to Dernis Johnson, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big drop. it's just tough to overcome that. I
Yeah,
also think the Buffalo game was pretty surprising. I
that was
think
insane.
yeah, Tennessee getting the upset was interesting to watch.
Mhm. I
I
mean, they lost to
think
Derrick Henry. They didn't lose to Tennessee. Being honest,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
that was
Derrick Henry's very good.
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I saw that he's like well over 200 yards ahead of everyone this year, and that was
Yeah,
I mean, but they did show that Buffalo's defense ain't perfect. They put up
yeah,
34 points on the Bills, which is kind of crazy for how that defense has been playing so far this year. So, and it came down to one play at the very end, and Josh Allen couldn't get a yard, and that was kind of insane. Like I was watching that game, and I was about 99% sure Josh Allen was going to get it, and that I was pretty sure the Bills were going to pull it off, but no, I did. That was a crazy defensive play. So yeah, I got to give it to him.
yeah. Amazing stop and just got it done.
Oh yeah, and then the Dallas and New England game. I kind of wanted New England to win that one, even though I thought Dallas would win, and that was a good game. That was a
Closer
good
than I
one.
expected, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy high scoring game. I didn't. I mean, Dallas has got a lot of offensive talent, but I didn't expect New England to keep pace with them like they did, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
And then I thought one of the more surprising things with everything going on was Las Vegas just having their way with the Denver Broncos. I know the Broncos aren't very good, but Las Vegas, after Gruden getting fired and everything and all the drama, just having their way with the Denver Broncos. It's kind of insane.
Yeah. I think everyone besides Broncos fans kind of realized even though they started off 3-0,
Yeah.
they're not a top 5 team or anything like that. Everyone knew like the Broncos were gonna kind of have problems.
Oh yeah.
However, I like you said, I mean, I thought that, Denver might have, had a good game, might have
Mhm.
been able to play, and
No,
just no, it just didn't happen.
no, but just wasn't meant to be this week. And I mean, I know Cleveland's got all. We'll get to week 4, but Cleveland's got all the injuries, so that'll be an interesting game tonight. What about you? Anything else that really stood out to you this week?
No, I mean that really kind of covers everything. And so actually I'm looking back through my picks and I might have miscounted my picks.
Oh, really? In a
Yeah,
good way or bad way?
I don't know. Let me double check on this one and I'll let you know for sure if it's good. Okay. So it's funny. I in my gallery, my when I first made my predictions,
Mm-hmm.
I picked the Raiders to win, and then I changed it last minute before I submitted it. So I cost myself a game last minute. So that kind of sucks. I was just
Really?
looking at that. I was like, oh, did I pick the
But
Raiders? But no, I did
so you're
not.
still 9-5 last week. I got you.
Yeah.
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 And then it was cool to see Kansas City. I mean, they got a good win against Washington. I mean, Washington's defense has been so disappointing, but they won 31-13. First half was rough, but the second half looked like good old Kansas City and just destroyed them. So that was cool. Did that game? So you're a Chiefs fan. Did that game like make you feel any better about the season and looking forward, or what do you think of it?
I think the first half was honestly one of the more concerning halves I've watched all season. Even comparing it to losses and stuff, I was not. I don't know. There were some mistakes that just weren't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just. It's hard to explain. They just did not feel like they were an Andy Reid coach team. I
Mhm.
think they've had some problems, but you saw once they kind of got settled and started clicking that they just they have that talent still.
Yeah.
So I'm very confident the Chiefs still going forward. I think,
Mhm.
once they start getting everyone back and getting healthy, Chris Jones getting him back is going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
Anthony Hitchens got hurt, which just kind of sucks. Tarvarius Ward is out. So a handful of,
Mhm.
starters, even if they're okay starters, well, Chris Jones is an all pro, probably the second best interior defensive lineman in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I think the Chiefs will be fine.
Oh yeah. They'll be fine. And then it was good to see my Packers continue to own the Chicago Bears. The Bears made it a little bit of a game kind of late, but Rodgers still owns him, and that was the coolest thing. Just legendary stuff, just screaming back at the fans. And I mean, hot take. I think people say taunting. I don't think taunting should be even be a thing. Like, you guys are grown adults. Like, I don't care. But that's just a hot take.
I think, there's a certain extent of what you can do, but like if it's not directed towards another player, then I mean, I don't think you can call that taunting call. Like, I don't know, that to me that doesn't matter. And it's kind of funny because, like, I've seen a lot of Bears fans talk about how, like, well, the refs won that game for Green Bay and stuff. And I mean, realistically, you put up 14 points against Aaron Rodgers. Like,
Can't expect to win.
you're not going to win the game with.
And they even had that interception.
That's not how it works.
They had that touchdown called back. They had that questionable interception called off. It was like, I mean, I gotta say, yeah, there were some bad calls against Chicago, but every game I've watched this year, it's like it's been ref ball. There's been crazy. I've yet to watch. Well, maybe I have, but so many games this year, just refs missing calls or changing the course of the games. It's just kept happening. So honestly, at this point, I'm not excusing the refs, but if you're a team, I just go in with the thought that, yeah, the refs are gonna mess up at least a couple times, or at least we're gonna call a couple things back like a couple times. I'm just gonna go in with that expectation because it's been so crazy what we've seen this year.
Absolutely. You can't predict it, to be a perfect game, and this year has been an absolute mess. So yeah, I definitely agree.
Well, anything. Well, I mean, then the Minnesota Carolina game, I don't really have much to say about it, but it was kind of crazy. So sad.
Yeah,
I wanted Carolina to win.
absolutely.
I thought they were going to pull it out in the end, but whatever. It was kind of crazy to see. I watched the end of that game, and apparently, Sam Darnold had like so many this year's a few years dropped so many balls, which is sad. So anyway, you got anything else you want to say about Week 6?
Oh, I think that kind of covers it.
All righty. So we'll move on here to Week 7. Let me go ahead and pull up my predictions. And I am quite excited for this week. I mean, I think we got a lot of good games coming up. And starting tonight, which, I think that oddly enough, the fact that Cleveland is so injured, I think that's what makes this so much more of an interesting game. Because if Cleveland had other players, I would give Denver zero chance. I'm still giving the mild edge to Cleveland because Denver's been so horribly the last 3 weeks. But I do think it makes it a more interesting game, oddly enough. I mean, I hate to see players get injured, but if Cleveland was fully healthy, this wouldn't be close.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
No, I absolutely agree. I think I am going to go with Denver, and even that's kind of still like uncertain. But yeah, if healthy, I mean, even without Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I was still kind of debating Cleveland. But with Baker out and all the defense players out, I'm like, Denver's probably going to find a way to get the win.
I could see it. Yeah, they could definitely happen. But I'm gonna roll with Cleveland. Maybe I'll regret it. And then so we got Green Bay versus Washington. I think Green Bay takes this one. I mean, Washington's defense has been horrendous unless they really step it up. I know I'm biased. I'm a Packer fan, but I don't see Washington have any chance. And like I was telling you before the show, Green Bay needs to win this game because they've got 2 terribly tough road games with Arizona and Kansas City 2 weeks in a row. And as much as I want them to say they're going to crush both those games, it's going to be next to impossible to get 2 wins in those environments against those teams. So they need to win this. They need to keep this streak rolling.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have too big of a problem. I think Green Bay is going to get it done,
especially in Lambeau. So, and then Kansas City versus Tennessee. I picked Kansas City. It is in Nashville. This is a tough one considering Tennessee, but I think Tennessee just having such an upset against the Bills does hinder them this week because we see that all the time when a team pulls off a huge upset or has a crazy big game the next week, they're just kind of off. So, and I think Kansas City has still, even with injuries and, you have people come back this week, still has the talent to win this game. So that's why I picked them.
Yeah, the biggest thing is right now, as if you're looking at the run defense grade and run stop win rate, Kansas City's by far the worst in the NFL, and Derrick Henry's obviously I mean, he's Derrick Henry. He's
I mean, I
playing
hate
at
to
a
say it.
crazy high level. But go ahead.
I hate to say it. Derrick Henry's going to run all over. I just don't think they're going to win. I just
Yeah,
don't think.
and it's crazy because that's kind of how it was, when they played in the playoffs this last year was the Chiefs defense was so god awful.
Mhm.
And or maybe it was the year before, maybe I'm getting
I
mixed
think
up.
that was 2020.
But they but they expected, Derrick Henry to just run all over him, and he
Mhm.
only ended up with 69 yards, which
Yeah,
was like pretty surprising.
that's true.
So I think Chris Jones coming back, I think will definitely help the
Mhm.
defense. I'm actually going to go with Kansas City as well. I think we started to see them kind of clicking towards the end of this last week, and I think they're going to get a win this week.
And then Atlanta versus Miami, Tank Bowl. I think Atlanta takes it, but this is not it. I hope Atlanta takes it because both in fantasy, both my QBs are on a bye, so I had to pick up Matt Ryan. So hopefully he does all right.
Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta as well. I think they'll have a good game.
Yeah, then we got New England versus New York. I think New England takes this one. I think it's going to be fairly close. I don't think New England has the roster to really blow anyone out this year. I think it'll be a close game, but I still think New England's going to win.
Yeah, got New England as well.
Carolina at New York. I got Carolina to finally get another win. New York just looks terrible. It's not. It's just ridiculous. Both New York teams are beyond just god awful.
Yeah. I got Carolina as well. They're starting to have some problems,
Hmm.
which kind of sucks to see. But I think, like you mentioned, I just think the Giants are just such in disarray right now that Carolina has to get the win.
Then we have what I think could be the game of the week: Cincinnati at Baltimore, which is kind of crazy to say. I picked Baltimore, but I can't really figure out the Ravens. I mean, some weeks they blow out the Chargers, but they barely beat the Lions. Who knows? And Cincinnati's has been in every single game this year, so I could see Cincinnati pulling off the upset, but I still think Baltimore takes it.
I'd like to see Cincinnati win. I'm picking
Oh yeah,
Baltimore. I think they're just a more for sure coach team. But I'd like to see Cincinnati get the win. Like I said, I got to pick Baltimore though.
yeah. I want Cincinnati to win, but I think Baltimore.
Yeah.
And then we got Las Vegas versus Philadelphia. I'm picking Vegas. Last week they showed that they didn't hit any. They were just fine without Gruden. So the Eagles haven't looked particularly strong. I think it'll still be a close game, but I think Vegas will take this one.
I'm actually going to pick Philly on this.
Really?
I think it's kind of an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people are probably going to go with the Raiders, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that Philly's going to match up well and get a win.
I mean, and then we got the Rams versus Detroit. I mean, come on, that's not eat. That's. I mean, I don't really feel like I need to say anything there.
Yeah, both picking the Rams pretty easy, I think.
And then Arizona at Houston, another one that's just not even fair. Like
Oh,
sad,
Arizona
but
easy.
and then Tampa Bay versus Chicago. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay. I can see Justin Fields
Yeah.
having some success on their battered defense, but I still think Tampa Bay gets the win. Although last year the Bears beat the Bucks, which was kind of crazy, and that was when Tom Brady couldn't remember fourth down or whatever. So who knows?
Maybe it'll happen again. We'll see. But yeah, Tampa Bay, I'm going to roll with them as well.
And then a second week in a row, I think this is Sunday Night Football. They have a preseason matchup that I bet they thought was going to be really good, but turns out to be kind of a dud. We have the Colts versus the 49ers. I'm picking the Colts. San Francisco hasn't looked great. I think the Colts are a lot better than the record shows, and I think they get the win.
I'm actually going with the Colts as well. I think it's kind of an upset as well. Like I think most people are picking the 49ers, but I don't know. Like I'd like to see the Colts have success there. And Carson Wentz hasn't played terrible. I mean, he's been
Good.
efficient and kind of keeping them in games and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think the Colts could surprise.
I can see that. And then lastly, Monday night, New Orleans at Seattle. I picked New Orleans. But can see it going either way, even with Geno Smith. New Orleans has been so up and down this year, so who knows really?
Yeah, I got New Orleans, and I think they could win by a substantial amount. Honestly, they're getting back some really key players off of injury, and I don't know. I think it's gonna I don't think Geno Smith's going to be able to get anything done on that defense. And then as far as offense goes, the Saints haven't looked terrible, and the Seahawks defense hasn't been great. So I don't know. I got the Saints.
Yeah, I picked the Saints, but like I said, they're unpredictable. So if we got all our picks for week 7, I'll let you go ahead and get into your power rankings, and I'll let you go first this week.
Absolutely. Also, it kind of sucks. Just going back real quick, kind of sucks that the Lions aren't very competitive, or at least they're not going to put up a fight against the Rams, because you get to see Matt Stafford play his old team. So that'll be fun.
That'll be cool to see. Maybe they will put up a fight. I mean, they've been in some games. They've been right there, especially against the Ravens, and the Vikings. So maybe it'll be an okay game. I don't really have much hopes for that, but who knows?
Absolutely. So let's get into the power rankings. I'll start with number 5. I have the Green Bay Packers. I think, they looked really good this last week. I think they're starting to click. I think, it's hard to realistically count Aaron Rodgers out. I'm not saying that they don't have talent elsewhere, but they're looking good. 4, I have Buffalo. The Tennessee game, definitely brought up some questions, but I still think they're obviously a very good team. 3, I actually have Tampa Bay. I think they're playing well overall. Their offense isn't playing terrible, and their defense, it hasn't looked great, but they're also missing so many starters. So they're getting these wins, and still, they're sitting at 1 loss or whatever it is, and they've missed all these starters. So I think they're still up there with amongst the best team. Number 2, I got the Los Angeles Rams. Through and through, they've looked really good besides one game this year. So I don't know. I think number 2, I'm pretty safe with them there. And then Arizona at 1. I think, Arizona has its faults that are going to play more of a factor as we go forward in the league. I don't know if I see them being a number 1 team late into the playoffs or anything. But right now, there's just no way to, I don't feel like there's any arguing that, like, they're playing the best right now. They've consistently came out, performed well, did what needed to be done. They have a good roster. So it's like, I don't know. Right now, I think they're pretty safely number 1 for me.
Yeah. We got pretty similar lists. At number 5, I can't really decide. I mean, I want to decide the Packers because I'm Packer, but between the Cowboys and the Packers, both have looked great. The Cowboys have been very impressive on the offensive side of the ball. If these two teams played, I have no idea who would win. Honestly, it would be a crazy game. I said my heart wants to say the Packers, but right now, I mean, and plus I still think people are like that first week loss for the Packers was so terrible that people are still like kind of undervaluing them and underestimating them. Again, speaking as a biased Packers fan, because they have looked very good in the last 5 weeks, besides the whole mess of the end of the Bengals game. And so they've won 5 in a row. But I think that first week loss was so bad, it's still holding them back to a lot of people's minds. But the Cowboys have looked fantastic. At number 4, I'll go with Baltimore, the Ravens, because they are, like I said, like they've been kind of all over the place, but they destroyed the Chargers, so that's got to mean something. And number 3, I have Buffalo. I don't want to knock them down too much because of the loss to Tennessee. Like I said, they were within an inch of winning that game, but they did lose, so I'm going to knock them a couple. I still feel like I need to knock them a couple spots. And then our top 2, it's fairly obvious right now, is number 2 is Los Angeles and number 1 is Arizona, which is crazy that they're in the same division, but they are 2, I think, fairly clearly the best teams in football right now. Like I said, I think the Rams will get another easy. Both have pretty easy wins this week, so I don't see that changing this next week. So, yeah, the season's really taking shape. And like I said, and honorable mention, I put Tampa. Like I said, their offense is still good as ever. Obviously, for a 90-year-old man, Brady's playing out of his mind. But their defense, with how it is right now, I just can't quite get them into that top 5 for me. But I think they'll definitely, by the end of the year, they'll be pretty solidly in the top 5. But as of right now, I don't consider them a top 5.
For that.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Well, there's our power rankings. I think it's going to be another great week of football. Are you looking forward to tonight's game between the Browns and the Broncos?
I'll try to catch a little bit of it. I don't know, I'm not crazy excited for it. I don't really, playing fantasy football, I feel like it kind of gets you to watch any game, even if it's just kind of, a bum game like this. But realistically, I don't got any players going tonight. So I'm just kind of just sitting doing nothing, I guess.
Yeah. I got the Broncos defense playing tonight. Wish I probably get a better defense, but that's who I got playing tonight. So we'll see how they do. So hopefully
You saying that is funny. I got the Broncos defense as well. I kind of forgot about my other league. So I guess I will watch and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm hoping for the sake of the picks that Cleveland wins in a very low scoring game. That's what I hope. So we'll see what happens. Well, with that, you got anything else for us?
No, I think that's kind of what we're looking at, and excited to get this week underway and continue this NFL season.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. I'm real excited. I think it's going to be a interesting week for sure. And with that, be sure to comment, rate, subscribe to watch all our videos. We should be back next week, and we should be back with hopefully some more kind of side episodes about movies and whatnot. So, yeah, enjoy watching football this week.